Hi everyone, my name is Francesca Colacato, the founder and executive director here at Gear for Greatness Incorporated. I'm super excited to launch our Aspire to Inspire podcast, where sports becomes a platform for growth, impact, and change. This podcast highlights athletes and sport community leaders who share the real journey, the lessons learned through wins, losses, setbacks, and perseverance. We talk about how sports shape character, build leadership, and create opportunities that extend far beyond the game. Every story here is meant to inspire the next person because impact does not stop with one athlete or one moment. It continues through learning, purpose, and action. With that being said, I'm excited to introduce to you Auma, our first guest on our first episode here at the pod. Auma shares her inspiring journey and unique journey from not making her seventh grade volleyball team to competing at the highest level in collegiate volleyball, Division 1. Not only is this episode special because it's our first one, it's also because Gear for Greatness got to be a small part of Alma's awesome story. Enjoy this episode and want to learn more about our mission, make sure to follow and stay updated across all our social media platforms at Gear for Greatness. And make sure to also subscribe to our newsletter, The Podium, so you do not miss a single update. Hope you guys enjoyed and hope you guys feel inspired. Hi everyone, this is Francesca Colacato, the founder and executive director of Gear for Greatness Incorporated, and I'm here with a very special guest today. Her name is...
Hi y'all, my name is Auma. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm currently at Lafayette College playing D1 volleyball.
Awesome. We're super excited to have her here. This is our first episode of the Aspire to Inspire podcast. While you guys listen along, I would just love to you guys to just hear Alma's journey and each athlete that we bring upon our pod and just learn more about each individual's athlete's journey and just kind of how they got to where they are. To kick it off, we have 3 segments. We're starting first with Alma, your origins and aspirations. So what kind of take us back to the beginning. How did you first fall in love with volleyball?
Oh, let me think. Okay, so I was born here, but we had to move to California for my dad's job. And then around when I was 7, we moved back. And I didn't know volleyball was a sport for like the longest time. Even though I lived right next to the beach in California, they were playing beach volleyball. I just never knew what it was or was really interested. And then my family wanted me to do a sport, and my middle school was having tryouts for volleyball. And my parents were like, okay, go ahead. It's 7th grade. Go ahead, try out. It's middle school volleyball. Like, you're probably going to make it. I did not end up making it.
Oh,
And
wow.
I did not end up making it. And so my dad was like, okay, well, now we have to like get you in volleyball lessons because there was no reason for you to not have made it.
Mm-hmm.
So I start in some volleyball lessons. And then let's see. Then I try out for HVA, Houston Volleyball Academy, and they had just started. Like, it's probably been like 2 years since they opened up their women's club teams because they're notoriously known for having really good men's club teams in Houston. So they just started women's, and so because I've been taking lessons before, I try out. I make their what year is this? Yes, I make their 12 teams. Yes, I'm 11. I make their 12 teams. I really enjoy club.
Mm-hmm.
So then I do 13s with them again. And over like the course of 12s into 13s, I've put in a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Going to do private lessons, going anytime I could touch a volleyball or be on a volleyball court, I was on a volleyball court. And I think just meeting new people, having a new like group of friends that are always going to be there when you are in a team sport really like drew me into the sport of volleyball. So I do 13s and I'm progressively getting better because I'm putting a lot of work in and more work in than the other girls around me. So they tell me right now this is a beginner women's volleyball club. So we're not very advanced yet. They say you'll probably get better skill work at another club. So COVID happens I don't do 14s. And I immediately moved into 15s. So I'm 14 playing 15s at Houston Juniors. I'm at Houston Juniors for 2 years for 15s and 16s. And then I decided to move to AVA, and I was at AVA for my 17s and 18s team. And 17s was amazing. I get recruited, I commit to the college I am right now, and then 18s happens, and my family goes through something very tragic. My dad, he had an accident into where he had to have double brain surgery. And so that was beginning of 2024, my senior year of high school. I didn't tell our 18s team until we had gotten a bid. So I was just going to practice, having fun at practice. Practice was really a really good escape for me to get away from classes and homework and things not going right, the hospital, et cetera, et cetera. And then we we're doing really well in the season. Like we go to every tournament, we're medaling, we're doing very well. Boston we were struggling a little bit as a team. Wasn't one of our best tournaments. It was a late night. We were probably close to the last ones in the gym. It was probably going to be a third set if we had won. But I end up getting injured and I tear my Achilles. Originally, I thought it was a partial tear because I still had movement. Like in my cafe to the test, I still had movement in my foot. I get an MRI done. I go and see, I don't know the name of the person. I go and see the foot doctor or ankle doctor, whatever it's called, and they say, you have a full tear. You're going to be out for the rest of the season, close to a year, if you want to fully recover and be back in volleyball. That really sucked. But I still, again, being with my team, being with my close friends, seeing them 3 times a week plus on the weekend, for the span of like half of a year really, really helped me keep my spirits up and have good motivation. And so I was there for all of the rest of our practices, all of the rest of our tournaments. And during that time, Franny introduced me to Gear for Greatness. And so also having that type of support and backup and knowing that when things are going not so great in life, there's gonna be other communities there for you. It was really, really helpful. And
Awesome.
then
Dude, Auma, you answered so many questions. I was gonna ask like follow-up questions about like your origin, but man, you gave us like the whole story of kind of like beginning to end of how you started volleyball and how you're in it. But kind of touching base though, because we're probably gonna have a lot of student athletes watching this, people who are aspiring to play collegiately. But in order to be an athlete at a college, you have to have good grades. So if you want to kind of dive into that, kind of balancing how high school was and kind of like, you know, the practice, the early mornings, the late nights, and kind of how was that day in, day out for you to end up playing collegiately now? I want to hear a little bit more about that. And that's crazy. I did not know you did not make your 7th grade team.
I did not. No.
So, like, this goes to show listeners, if you do not make your 7th grade team, your journey does not end there. That's the start of your journey. Keep going. It's a testament. And then look, from not making 7th grade team, not even B team, all the way to Division 1, it is possible. And this is a testament right here. But with that being said, kind of delve into how you balance academics. Like, what kind of courses did you take? You know, how was your study habits? What did you do to like help you?
I think everyone talks about time management, but when you're a student athlete, like time management is literally everything. So not saying that you have to like plan out your day. Like you don't have to be that type of person to where, okay, during this time I'm going to do this, or during this time I'm going to do this. Just being able to take time out of your day to really focus on either being a student or being an athlete and not letting those completely overlap. I would say, let's see. My senior year was probably the easiest ever. Junior year was a lot harder. So junior year, I was taking What was I taking junior year? Jeez. I was taking calculus. I
A
was
A B or
taking,
BC?
I don't know.
It was
I just
math though. It
knew
was math.
it was math.
And
It
was
was
it
math.
challenging? Because I don't like math either. It's okay.
I no. I did have a tutor. My tutor helped me a lot.
Uh-huh.
Um so let's see. I was taking calculus. I was taking regular whatever basic English because I don't like writing papers. I'm really bad at it. I still am. I'm working on it. Um Regular English. I was taking AP World History,
Mhm.
US History. I think that's junior year. Yes.
Okay,
AP
so
US History.
kind of with that course load though, like I bet you
Yeah.
probably obviously we can go down each single course, but of course that would take
Yeah.
forever. So like now that you got into college and you did the hard work, you put the work into becoming a great athlete and also I mean volleyball player on and off the court and also just like a student, like now competing at the collegiate and division 1 level, like what's been the hardest part of being a student athlete like people don't see? Either that's a physical challenge, mental challenge, what's kind of something that, obviously sometimes people can think of student athletes like, okay, their bodies are probably sore, that's kind of like a given. But what's one thing like from the outside looking in, like maybe that's the mental aspect or maybe that's like the community aspect sometimes. Like if you want to dive into that.
I think the hardest part about being a student athlete mentally is making sure you're engaged in everything that you're doing because as a student athlete you're going to have your courses. You need to pay attention during those courses. You're going to have practice either in early morning. We had early morning practice at 6 a.m. before classes this season. You have to be awake and engaged in those practices to make sure you're getting better. And then after class activities, making sure, like group projects, making you're engaged, you're awake, making you're engaged and communicating with your teammates on and off the court.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's probably like the biggest thing as being a student athlete is making sure you're engaged in every single moment to where you can be at your full potential when it really matters.
That's a great response because I go to UT obviously, and there's a lot of athletes on there that, I just see day in and day out kind of the dedication they put too. Like, obviously, I don't see every second what they do, but, some of them, because also I do sports reporting there on the campus, and, you know, when I get to meet these athletes and kind of hear their stories, like some of them are aspiring doctors, and just for them to take biology and compete at that level, like they got to make
Yes.
their lab, they got to do this, so I commend you guys a lot because it's not easy. Even just being a student too, or I knew in high school being a student athlete back then, like that was pretty a lot to juggle. So probably at the college level even more because the courses are obviously more demanding than high school. So
Yes.
kind of with that too, like how do you stay motivated during moments of burnout, injury, or self-doubt? Like do you do a self-care day? Do you and your teammates go out on the weekend to like kind of recover from the long week of practices and training?
Um, I think it depends. Sometimes being with your friends or teammates really helps you like rejuvenate, but also a self-care day here and there, just even if it's for like 30 minutes, just making sure you do like a full entire skincare routine can really help you like de-stress. Or I think what like my friends do will like make sure and try to make sure everything gets done. So we have like a couple hours on like a Saturday to have like a movie marathon or have like a craft day or a craft night or play board games with each other. So like we really like have that as a priority to like whenever things get stressful, just making sure we have time for each other to do these things that are fun.
Yeah, I had to ask because I know a lot of athletes. Like I follow along kind of their journeys. Like one, for example, I love the Yukon women's basketball team, and like their pastime they said is like going to the Bible study or like building Legos. So like I want to ask what's kind of like your teams like you mentioned now crafts because I know some
Yeah.
teams like do Legos, other ones do like go on a matcha run. So that's really really cool how y'all do crafts because hands-on stuff is always fun, and that's probably good as an athlete too, doing hands-on stuff because you're working probably another side of your brain. I'm not a neurologist, but that may
Yeah.
be, we don't know, but like kind of alongside of that too, like what lesson has your sport taught you that translate beyond competition? Like maybe that enters the classroom or maybe it's in your day-to-day life.
Mm, I think the biggest thing that volleyball teaches you is communication. How to communicate what you want in a way that is respectful, in a way that the person you're working with wants to hear and doesn't offend them, because you can be respectful but it can still be offensive in a way.
Mhm.
So just making like knowing how to get across information that you want in a way that is beneficial to everyone around you.
That's a really good response, especially in team sports. You know, you gotta communicate. You can't play a team
Yeah.
sport and expect from like the first ball served over the net to like the last ball hitting the floor. You have to say at least something because yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
There's a
crazy.
lot of
Someone
things
play a
going
whole
on
volleyball game without saying a
silently.
single word.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. That would actually be interesting to watch also. But yeah, that's
I
a
think it
really
would be
important.
really hard.
Yeah, it would be really hard. Be like, who are you setting even? Like, you gotta call it
Yeah.
set, be like, ready, ready, up, the
Who's
block switch.
passing?
Yeah, like, who's gonna get the ball? There's,
Yeah.
like, no mind, it's just like, that'd be
Yeah.
really interesting. But that's a good point because communication is really, really important, and that does really translate to, like, your professional, like, after the sport. You're gonna have
Yeah.
to know that whenever you go into your professional career path, so that's a good one. So, how has being a student athlete, like, changed your view of success and failure? Or has it? Has it or has it not?
I think it definitely has. I mean, when I was younger, it wasn't really like a thought. I feel like when people aren't like introduced to a sport of any kind, it's hard for them, not generally, but it may be hard for them to get over really good highs. Like they do something well, like they accomplish their goal, and then like moving past that onto something else may be difficult, and then also getting over like failing at something may be also especially difficult. So just learning how to regulate your emotions and okay, I've accomplished this goal and moving on to the next goal, and also um getting over things that fail, like
Mhm.
losing a match, learning from okay, I didn't do a couple things well in this match. It also goes into like things in class, like an assignment. You think like some assignment, like I was taking health economics this year and I thought I did amazingly on this assignment and the answer key comes out. I'm like, well, that's another way to do it. So just like learning from your mistakes and
Mhm.
errors and finding other ways to get around those to make them good.
Yeah, I agree. Even alongside the academic part, like I can relate. You think you do so good, then you get that test back, you're like, "What?" And you put in all the
Yeah.
effort and you're like, "Dang," but like instead of being just soaking and sitting with your
Being
head down,
stuck on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
do something about it. Maybe go to an office hour. So I think also, yeah,
Yes.
being in a sport has really, even for me when I played, when you shank the ball, you're like, okay, dang, like I could have done this, I could have done that, but like, why waste your time? The next ball's coming over the net, So it's like,
Exactly.
it's really the next ball mentality that has instilled.
Yes.
So like seeing the mistake as an opportunity to grow, because like if you're a perfect player, like dude, you probably should be in the Olympics. But even people at
Even people in
the
the Olympics, like they
like
still
shanking
miss
a ball.
serves. So
Yes,
yeah.
the students are shanking balls, but nobody can be perfect. Like that is impossible. So like I think sports does a really good job on doing that. So I agree with you a lot. Now we're going to segment 3, which is impact, purpose, and inspiring the next generation. So this is the moment to really kind of just give your words of wisdom throughout your time and journey as an athlete so far. So like what phrase, oh whoa, this is a good question. What does the phrase aspire to inspire mean to you personally? That's a big phrase that we use a lot at our organization. Like kind of interpret it into like kind of your own way, what you think it means to you.
I feel like it goes into, for me personally, I always want to be better than the person next to me.
Mhm.
So I feel like people that around you that are at another level or like are like maybe slightly better than you in a certain skill, not particularly having to be in a sport, just any skill in general, like learning from them and how it can help you and improve your own skill. I feel like that's what inspire to inspire means for me, just learning from the people around you and using it to your advantage.
That's a really great interpretation. Yeah, that's really awesome. I can't wait to hear the other athletes' response to that. So, this is a really good one, too. Good question, I think. What advice would you give to athletes who feel overlooked or underestimated? Because, Amma, we also have to emphasize, too, you're 5'8" and you're playing an outside hitter. 5'8", right?
Yes. Yeah.
5'9" with shoes
Wow.
on, 5'10" with shoes on.
Five
No,
seven, 5'8"
but
with shoes on.
listeners, listen to this. Alma can jump over me if that puts anything. I stand at 5'3", and she probably can like frog jump over me. She won like her jumping competition at
I
her
remember
club.
that.
You touched what, 10 foot something? You were in the 10 foot,
10'2".
yeah, 10 foot too. So being an undersized outside, undersized, but you play big. So like, what advice would you give to athletes who are maybe undersized or like get overlooked because of certain physical things or like XYZ?
Hmm. I would say that's a really good question. Mm, I would say hard work gets noticed. So you if there's a person that's a lot taller
Mhm.
or maybe um like can jump a lot higher or can honestly mostly to do with height for volleyball. I'm not sure about other sports, but it's a lot to do with height in volleyball. So if there's like a person a lot harder, just know that hard work gets noticed.
Mhm.
So continuing to put your all into practicing whatever you want to get good at will take you far in life, not just athletically as like an athlete or in sports, but also like once you're in the workforce, like hard
Mhm.
work gets noticed. If you are working hard in a job, you're more likely to get promoted than the person that's just doing exactly what they want to do.
Mhm.
So just making sure you're using all the opportunities that are given to you to their fullest.
That's awesome. What was our saying 17 season? We had a, or maybe that
Oh,
was my 15th. It was like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. It was something like that.
yes,
And I was like, that
exactly.
just rung so many bells. We have three more questions, and I think these are
Gotcha.
good, like big finale questions. So, how do you hope your journey inspires younger athletes watching from where you once were? Like, what's a big key takeaway maybe athletes can hear from your journey you hope for them to take away? For me, honestly, just listening to you, from you not making your seventh grade team, that just took me aback. I did not know that. That's crazy.
um I think it also has to do with making sure you find something you love to do.
Mhm.
Because if you're not in a sport or doing something that you love to do, it's going to be really hard um, to continue doing that when things are down. So,
Mhm.
really finding something that you really love to do and will continue when things are down or aren't going well. Especially because I didn't make my seventh grade team. And even when like my dad was injured or when I tore my Achilles, still making sure it's something that you love so you can continue to do it when you're not so happy and use it as something that makes you extremely happy. And when you're extremely happy, making it like amazing for you.
Mhm. Awesome. So, beyond the wins and accolades, what kind of impact do you hope to leave through your sport?
Mm, Say the question again, just so I know I'm answering it right.
No, you're good. Like beyond the wins and accolades, what kind of impact do you want to leave through your sport?
Um, I think I want to leave that, you know, I know like it's sports right now are rising for people of color,
Mhm,
but it's still like it's a small percentage.
mhm,
For just for like people of color,
mhm,
just making sure like to let them know that like it's possible,
mhm,
you know, getting to where I am today. Like, yes, it was hard. Yes, I put a lot of like work in, but it is possible if you one love what you're doing, put the work in,
mhm.
and continue to put the work in no matter what. I think that's what I want to leave. Yeah,
I love that, the work ethic and everything.
just
Representation is important. So a lot of young
yeah,
girls probably looking up to you right now, and it's like really, really awesome, you know?
yeah.
So this is super exciting for the listeners. And then final question, like if you could leave listeners with one message to carry with them today, what would it be?
Oh, okay. Let me think. I normally have an answer for this. Um, just know you're human. You're gonna make mistakes. And practice doesn't make perfect, it makes improvement. So making sure you always have improvement in mind, for your future and not being um okay with settling at where you at.
I love that. Someone needs to quote that. Be like Michael Jordan. Or like Nike, just do it. Well, Alma, thank you so much for your time. We truly
Thank you
appreciate
so
it. We're
much.
super happy to have our first guest on the Aspire to Inspire pod. For more updates about our organization and more about Gear for Greatness, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter, The Podium, to stay up to date with all our things that we got going on. And to support more athletes, make sure to check out our website, www.gearforgreatness.org, and to help more um, aspiring athletes get the support that they need and continue to make sports more accessible. But Alma, thank you so much once again. And also,
Thank
thank
you.
you, listeners. Okay.
Thanks. Bye.